Well, Ripcaster, my name's John Nelson. We're a hi-fi dealer based between Reading and Oxford in the UK. All the products that we feature on our YouTube channel are available for you to see and hear at our showroom. You can also check them out on our website at ripcaster.co.uk. Today we're going to be looking at two new additions to the Cabasse range. These were launched at the Bristol Hi-Fi show in the UK a few weeks ago, and they add to the existing products that you may have seen in the Cabasse range. They do this range of fully active smart speaker. This is the Pearl Akoya and its bigger sibling, the Pearl. They both feature concentric drive units at the front and at the rear, and they can be used either singly or in a stereo pair. Add power and then you can control them using an app, etc. They all share the same streaming platform, so they can all be controlled with the same app. The first one is a stereo pair of speakers called the Rialto. The second is a smart integrated amplifier called the Abyss, which you can add your own passive speakers, whether they be from Cabasse or from third-party manufacturers. Let's have a look at the two products. So the first of the two new products we're going to look at is the Rialto. It's delivered as a pair in a single box, nicely presented, image of the product on the front, some of the features of the product, the services it integrates with. So we've got Qobuz, Deezer, Tidal, Spotify, Napster, internet radio, Bluetooth connections and Wi-Fi, and obviously you control it using an app that works on Android or on iOS. So that's the pretty packaging. Let's see what we actually get inside. A couple of mains cables, so each speaker requires a mains cable. We've got an HDMI cable. It does have an eARC input on it, so you can connect it to your TV to enhance the sound out of your TV. And you also get a couple of magnetic grills that go on the front of the speaker, just held on by magnets. So that's what's in the box. Let's just have a look at the actual speakers themselves. Okay, so they're supplied as a pair. We'll put them on the turntable and you can have a look at these and spin them round. So we'll start by looking at the front of the speakers. They look from the front identical. We can put our magnetic front on here, like so. They're made out of very nicely finished cabinets, and if we spin this one round, like the Pearl and the Pearl Akoya that we started out the video with, you can see they've got the concentric drive units, one at the front and one at the back. There is a primary speaker which has got a control knob on it, so you've got physical control, it's an LCD screen and a rotation volume control on the outside here. And you've got a secondary speaker which talks to the primary. So you've got inputs and control on the primary. You can just see the ARC and analog inputs over here. And you've got the secondary speaker over here. So this is a quick 360 of the secondary speaker. You can see the front there, the silver metallic base, and then the rear facing drive unit and heatsink. Each unit's got power switch, Ethernet cable, a link for an optical between the two. So here we've got the primary Cabasse Rialto speaker with its front grille on in this case. Same construction, same cabinet, but the amplifier module on the back has got additional inputs. So again, if we look on the back, we've got the same power switch, Ethernet, optical link, but we've also got analog input, eARC input, a microphone again, and the optical link to the other speaker. We've also got an digital optical input into the speaker as well. So now I've put them side by side. You can see the primary one's got the front grille on, the secondary has got the front grille off. You can see the cabinets are identical. And as we look around the rear of the product, you'll see the difference on the back panel. The primary's got more connections. Now we've had a quick 360 look at the primary and the secondary. We'll put these on one side, we'll have a look at the Abyss amplifier, and then we'll connect them up and see how we can control them using the app. This is the Abyss, comes in a petite little box. We'll open it up and have a look at this. This is the Abyss, comes in a very nice presentation box. Again, showing the product and the connections, and again the same set of supported services: Qobuz, Deezer, Tidal, Spotify, Napster, Internet Radio, Bluetooth, AirPlay ready, Wi-Fi connection or Ethernet connection, controllable by iOS or Android. So we get HDMI cable again. Again, it's got eARC. We've got an optical cable with it. We've got some instructions, nicely presented, very kind of, how shall I say, reminiscent of a Californian company. The box, we have the actual product itself, which is in a bag. So inside the bag, let's just take that off. So here you can see, so this has got, again, the similar dial that we saw on the top of the Rialto. It's got heat sinks down the sides, and round the back we've got the rear connections for passive speakers. On the front we've got a power switch, and we've got a 3.5mm headphone socket. Let's just put that on the turntable, give you a closer look. So on the rear we've got the power, main switch and Ethernet, although it does have Wi-Fi. It's got the eARC, it's got an optical connection for digital input, it's got a pairing indicator for when you're pairing it with your phone, it's got a pair of analog inputs, and it's also got a subwoofer output, so they've covered all bases here. And obviously you've got the 4 connectors there for your stereo speakers. So I've put the Rialtos on the desk here. We'll change the camera angles and we'll power them up and just see how we set the system up. Okay, so I've connected my iPad up now, and what we're going to do is just go through the setup process of how we add the Cabasse speakers, the Rialto in this instance, but it's the same process for all of the products, the Cabasse Akoyas, the Pearls, the Rialtos, the Abyss. So we're going to use an iPad using the App Store from Apple, but the basic process is exactly the same for Android as well. So we've got the iPad connected. I'm going to open up the App Store on my iPad, and I'm going to search for Cabasse, and in fact we've already done that before, so you can see that here. Cabasse Stream Control is the name of the app. I've already got it installed, so I'm just going to open the app, and we can see the our list here of players that we've already got installed. So I've got a couple of Akoyas and a Pearl already installed. I want to add the Rialtos to the system, so I go down to Settings here, bottom right, and click at the top, the plus symbol, Add Player. I can add any from the Pearl collection here. The Rialto and the Abyss are in the Classic system, so I hit Classic. It shows the options there, so I'm going to select Rialto. And what it wants to see is on the back we've got the status, a solid blue status light. So I've switched the camera there. If we look at the back of the amp there, you can see the solid blue status light and the blue pairing light is flashing probably on both of them. Yeah. We're back at the iPad now, and if we click continue, it says I want to connect. Well, we're going to connect via Wi-Fi. We could go over Ethernet, but we're using Wi-Fi. Got the pairing LED, which we've just seen, so we'll go continue. And now it wants us to go into our Wi-Fi settings. So if I swipe up and go into settings now. Go into the Wi-Fi settings. We're currently connected to our Wi-Fi called Ripcaster, and in my other networks I've got this Rialto listed here, so I'm going to connect to that Rialto. Okay, so we're now connected, and now go back to the Cabasse app and it should proceed. Okay, so what it's going to do is, now we're connected to the Rialto network, that now allows us to put in the actual credentials of the network we wanted to connect to, which is Ripcaster. It already knows our password because we'd already connected up.
In progress.
You get the voice announcements from the device as it's trying to connect. It just said network connection in progress.
Network connection success.
And it tells us it's now successfully connected to the network. Okay, please wait whilst the primary player is connected to the secondary player. So it's doing this connection, and I think if we looked on the top of the unit, again I will try and swap the view that you've got from the iPad to the physical unit. On the top of the unit on the dial here, you can see that it is communicating with the secondary unit. I guess this is a connection over Bluetooth or similar.
Connection in progress.
So that was coming from the secondary speaker, that announcement came. So the primary is already connected.
Network connection success.
And now the secondary one has connected. So at this point we should have a working system. So I'll switch back to the iPad view. Okay, so there we go. So now it knows the two speakers are connected. It now just wants to know which is left and which is right. So we will assign the primary one as the left-hand speaker. So if I just go, the primary is the other way around. Okay, so the primary is left. Continue. We can give it a name. So this typically would be a room name. We'll just leave it as the product name, but typically, you know, your kitchen, study, bedroom, etc. It then asks us for whereabouts is our listening position, and how close to the wall we want to be. So we can just choose any of these three places, and we'll save that. There is an automatic room calibration built in. I'll try this. I'm not quite sure how my microphone's going to pick this up, but anyway, we make sure the room's silent, and then we start this process off, and it will generate some test tones to measure the room. It's telling us the automatic calibration is now complete, and we can now start to use our system. And so if I go to my players now, we've now got the Akoyas and the Pearl we had before. We've also got the Rialto here. And if I go to music down here, I've got my different sources that we've got enabled. I'll select the room that I want to play, which is the Rialto in this instance. So here is my list of music. I happen to have a Melco server with some music on it over here. So we'll go into that. We'll go into one of our albums. We've got a Kate Bush album here, and if I select track 1, then we should be playing Kate Bush on the Rialto. Indeed we are. So as that starts, I've got obviously volume control, etc. here. Now I'll turn that or mute that down just so that we don't have problems with copyright issues. But as you can see, it's playing on the unit. If I change the camera angle again and we look at camera 2, you can see on the top of the unit we do have a thumbnail of the actual track playing. It's telling us the name of the track, King of the Mountains, and I've got my volume control here. So as I turn that round, you can see it starting there. Again, I'll turn that down. And I've got shuttle control as well on the top, so I can pause or I can skip to the next track. So if I go on like this, it goes to track 2 on that particular album. So I'm back at the app now. I've gone full screen on what I'm actually playing on the Rialto. If I just minimize that and I look at my players, you can see I've got the Rialto playing here. I've got nothing currently playing on any of the other players, but I can, if I want, group them together, and I can group them all so that I've got party mode, as it were, and they're all playing in synchronization the music. So that's the setup for the Rialto. We'll just do exactly the same very quickly with the Abyss and connect a pair of passive speakers to it, and then we can just see them all playing. This unit obviously there's some protective film on the buttons and on the logo. Those obviously peel off when you're using it for real. Alright, so it's doing its thing, it's booting up. And I'm looking on the rear of the product for the status light to go blue, and then I'll be able to use the app in exactly the same way to configure the unit. Again, it features the same dial on the front, so once we have got it configured, we'll have the same source selection and volume control. You can use it without any app at all. So if you just want to use it for Bluetooth, or you just want to use physical control, and you just want to use physical inputs, whether it be the TV or an analog input, and that could be a turntable, for example, with a phono stage, then you can use it exclusively by the physical controls on the front of it. If you want to get access to streaming services, etc., then you can use the Cabasse app, or you can use the actual Spotify for Spotify Connect, or Tidal for Tidal Connect app natively, and not use any of the Cabasse's own software. But to get the most out of it, it's probably best to connect it into your network. We're back in our app. We're going to go to settings, again bottom right, add a player, classic system. It's an Abyss this time we're going to add. Again, flashing light on the back, which I can see. So we then go into our settings. We then go into Wi-Fi, other networks, and the Abyss has already come up here. So I connect to the Abyss. As soon as it's connected, so I now go back into the Cabasse app and click continue. We're going to use Wi-Fi. We could go Ethernet if we wanted to. We've got the pairing, that's okay. I can see the flashing lights on the back. It's now waiting for us to choose a network, and again we're using the Ripcaster network, which is this one. It's asking for our passcode, which it's got, so I'll continue. This takes a few seconds. Okay, now interestingly, it's connected to our network. It thinks there's a software update for the Abyss, and so it's actually applying an update to the actual player. All software updates are over the air and free, and so this will apply the update to the device, and it will then restart. So I guess if I switch back to the camera looking at the front of the unit, again it's got some update process going on the front of it, so it's restarting, so it's finished doing the update now. The iPad's telling me it's restarting, and we should see it come up online. Again, if I switch back to my iPad view, it's looking for the network. I can see from the status lights on the back here of the Abyss that it's just about ready. It's flashing red at the moment. When it goes blue, it means it's ready. Solid red now, and blue. And okay, so it's now done, and again it comes back the same process where we could give it a room name. Again, it's got the product name in as a default, so we'll just continue with that, but you would typically call it whatever, your sitting room, etc. Now I haven't physically connected any speakers to the back of it yet, but as you can see here, it's giving us various different speaker locations of where we want, and with that information, where we want our left and right speakers to be and how close they are to our actual listening position, that it will calibrate the system for us. Again, where are we sitting in relation to the back wall in the room? It probably will ask us if we want to calibrate. I'm going to, okay, so it thinks it's all done up, and away we go. So there we are, and there is some automatic customization. We could run the calibration again there. So if I now look at my players, there we go. So I've got the Abyss that we've just added, the Rialto previously, and then my previous Pearl, Akoyas and Pearls added into the system. Okay, hope you enjoyed the video. That was a brief introduction to the new Rialto and the Abyss. Two new products added into the existing Cabasse range to go with the Pearl Akoya and the Pearl. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that introduction to the new players within the Cabasse range, the Rialto and the Abyss, to complement the existing Pearl and Pearl Akoya in the Cabasse range. I welcome you to come and visit Ripcaster to come and see and hear these products for yourself, as well as all the other brands that we stock. Thanks for watching.